Well, hello and welcome to the January meeting of the Massachusetts Federal Funds Partnership. My name is Quentin Palfrey. I'm the Director of Federal Funds and Infrastructure. Before we begin, just a little bit of housekeeping. This meeting's being recorded. We will have a question and answer session at the end, but you can put your questions in the chat at any time. You can also email us at fedfundsinfra@mass.gov at any time, and we always respond to those emails. But if you move the slide forward, I'll give you a little bit of an overview of our agenda for today. So first, I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of some of what's been happening in the Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office and the Healey-Driscoll Administration, as well as a little bit of an update about what's been going on in the U.S. Congress. And then my colleague Mallory will give us a little bit of an overview of some of the open federal funding opportunities that are available to cities, towns, and tribes in Massachusetts and other partners. And then we have two presentations for you today. The first is a presentation from MassDOT, who will go over the BUILD program from the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is the new name of familiar discretionary grant program that was until recently known as RAISE. And then we will have a presentation from Partners for Public Good, who will give an overview of some of the technical assistance offerings that they have that you can take advantage of. And then we will open up the floor for question and answer. My colleague Mallory will take some questions out of the chat and direct them to our speakers. So with that, would love to give you just a little bit of an overview of some of what we've been up to. First of all, we've been tracking very closely the impact of recent changes at the federal level on Massachusetts and its partners. So we have a website that the Healey-Driscoll Administration has put up, mass.gov/fedimpact. And this gives an updated snapshot of a moment in time of the impact that various federal changes have had on federal funding coming into Massachusetts. So this includes both some of the executive branch actions, canceling certain grant programs, as well as the impacts that have already happened with respect to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. But just a caveat on some of the things that it does not include. It does not include some of the future ramifications of some of the changes, including some of the changes to the Medicaid program, which are likely to continue to have impact on Massachusetts. It also doesn't capture what we know is one of the biggest impacts of the changes, which is the impact that these changes have had on cities, towns, tribes, universities, museums, libraries, nonprofits, other kinds of stakeholders and partners across Massachusetts. We do, however, want to hear from you about how these changes are impacting you, and we will do what we can to help and to point you to the resources that we have. So there's an opportunity through mass.gov/fedimpact to let us know about how federal funding changes are impacting you. But as of this moment, the number that we're tracking of total funds cut to Massachusetts is $3.7 billion. We, in partnership with the Attorney General and partners across Massachusetts, are engaged in a fair amount of litigation, and we're working very hard to make sure that Massachusetts gets every dollar it's entitled to. We're also working very closely with our terrific federal delegation to make sure that we continue to get resources here to Massachusetts. Moving to the next slide. Congress, as you may know, is in a continuing resolution posture. So a few months ago, there was a partial government shutdown. It had huge impacts across Massachusetts. The end of that process was a continuing resolution that expires this week. Congress is in the middle of considering a series of appropriations bills that would be required to fund the government for FY26. 6 of the 12 appropriations bills have been passed. The 6 remaining appropriations bills need to be passed by January 30th to avert a partial government shutdown. The House has passed the 6 remaining appropriations bill and sent them to the Senate, and negotiations are ongoing. However, there certainly is some uncertainty as to whether all of those bills will be passed. And recently, there's been a particular set of questions raised about DHS funding. And so we are following very closely the question of whether the government may go into partial shutdown later this week. As you know, we are here to try to provide you with as much information as we can on an ongoing basis. Feel free to reach out to us as things develop. We also are in very close touch with our federal delegation, and they are, of course, available to answer your questions as well. So we'll be monitoring that situation very closely. Moving to the next slide. The Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office, we were created at the beginning of the Healey-Driscoll Administration, and one of our core missions is to work with cities, towns, and tribes to make sure that you have good information about federal funding opportunities, and that we help build a bridge to the entire Healey-Driscoll Administration and to quasi-governmental organizations and to federal opportunities. So you can get information about federal funding opportunities through our website, which was just posted in the chat. We keep updated information about the opportunities that are open, and my colleague Mallory is about to go through some of those opportunities that we're highlighting for you. We also send out a newsletter twice a month, once in advance of these federal funds partnership meetings and once afterwards. We also put clips of the presentations that we have in these meetings so that you can share them with colleagues who aren't able to make it to these meetings. We're active on social media, in particular on LinkedIn, and so feel free to follow us there. And as I mentioned at the outset, we keep a very active monitoring of the Fed Funds info@mass.gov email account, and we try to use that as a way of staying in touch with cities, towns, and tribes. Feel free to reach out to us, even if your question is about what parts of the state government, other than FFIO, may be well situated to help you with a particular question. Moving to the next slide. So what I'd love to do is turn the floor over to my colleague Mallory, who's just going to go over a few of the open federal funding opportunities that we've been tracking. Mallory?
Thanks, Quentin. Hi, everyone. Good to be with you all today. For those who don't know me, I'm Mallory. I am a policy analyst for the Federal Funds and Infrastructure team. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the federal grants that recently opened up. So first, we have the BUILD program, which funds planning and construction, or planning or construction for surface transportation projects that deliver significant local or regional impact. As Quentin said, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because we're just going to have a presentation in just a moment from our friends at MassDOT, so I will leave it to them to cover the details on BUILD. Next, we have the Port Infrastructure Development Program, which is another U.S. Department of Transportation program. This funds projects that improve the safety, efficiency, or reliability of the movement of goods through ports. Eligible applicants include, but are not limited to, state and local governments and tribes. Maximum award is $112 million, and the match requirement is 20%. Though there are exceptions for projects that are located in rural areas or for grants awarded to a small project or small port as classified by DOT regulations. So you can see the full notice of funding opportunity for more details there. And the deadline to apply is February 28th. Next, we have the Lead Hazard Reduction Capacity Program, which is available through Department of Housing and Urban Development. This program supports communities with developing and expanding the infrastructure necessary to identify and control lead-based paint hazards in privately owned homes or owner-occupied housing. Again, eligible applicants include, but are not limited to, state and local governments and tribes. The maximum award is $2.5 million, and there is a 10% minimum match requirement, and the deadline to apply is February 26th. So if you're interested in this program, feel free to reach out to us. We're also happy to talk with our colleagues at the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities about providing support here. Next, we have the homeless. Oh, you can go back one slide. Thanks. Next, we have the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. This program is through the Department of Labor and funds projects that support veterans experiencing or at risk of homelessness in reaching employment and obtaining high quality career outcomes. So this is really focused on connecting homeless veterans and veterans at risk of homelessness with good jobs. The grants have to help connect veterans to supportive services available in local communities, and they also need to help veterans successfully return to work by providing job training services and supporting their needs. The maximum award is $500,000, and there's no match requirement, and the deadline to apply is March 6th. Right, now we can go to the next slide. The next program we wanted to highlight is the Youth Build program, which is also a Department of Labor program. So this supports projects that provide pre-apprenticeship and occupational skills training to youth. So the program prepares participants for careers in different high-need sectors, and also will support wraparound services, including transportation, childcare, and housing for the youth that are participating in the program. And this program specifically focuses on training participants in construction and other vocational skills in high-demand industries. So eligible applicants include, but are not limited to, state and local governments, tribes, nonprofits, and higher education institutions. Maximum award is $2 million, and there is a 25% match requirement, though the Notice of Funding Opportunity does make exceptions for federally recognized tribes and other eligible Native entities. And the deadline to apply is March 2nd. The last kind of series of grants that I wanted to flag is the Institute for Museums and Library Services recently opened up a series of grants for museums specifically. In the interest of time, I won't go through each of the grants, but there are 8 different programs that were opened up that we've highlighted in our newsletter. So if you're subscribed to our newsletter, there's full details on each of the programs there. And I'm happy to send that along to anybody who's interested in reading more. But just to give context for some of the grants that are currently open, there's the Museums for America grant, which supports educational programming and exhibits at art museums. There's the Museums Empowered grants and the 21st Century Museum Professionals grants, which both support professional development and training for workers at museums. And there are also grants specifically for museums that focus on African American history, Latino history, and Native American history as well. So again, you can find the full details on each of those programs in our newsletter. The scope of each program varies, but they all have a March 13th deadline. So if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, please feel free to shoot us an email at venfundsinfra@mass.gov, and I can make sure that you get signed up. Next slide. Just wanted to put a reminder here that our office administers a technical assistance program, the Municipal and Tribal Technical Assistance Program, MTTA. So before I hand it back to Quentin to introduce our speakers, I just wanted to remind folks that we do have this program available. We're continuing to accept applications on a rolling basis. So if you are planning to apply for a federal grant, or if you've received federal funding for a particular project, you can apply to our program for help with covering the costs associated with technical assistance needs for the project. So feel free to reach out to us anytime about this. And with that, I will hand it back to Quentin to introduce our colleagues at MassDOT.